Hello, is this Mr. Bryan? Good, good. Do you mind if I put you on speakerphone? Okay, great. Mr. Bryan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
Good, good. Want to thank you once again for signing up for our services. We're certainly looking forward to working with you. As I shared with you before, we've got a program that we have in place that up to this point we've found it works really well. Typically, our clients are getting jobs really within the first 2 months, but 90% get a job within 3 months. But again, it's important that we follow our system. We've gotten your resume updated, your LinkedIn profile's updated. You and I had a really good call about your career profile and so on, getting you pointed in the right direction. As part of our package, though, one of the things I like to do is go through a mock interview with you. Again, to get you prepared for interviewing. I know it's probably been a few years since you've interviewed, but I find these mock interviews work well just to get you in the right mindset.
All right. Well, it sounds good.
Okay, fantastic.
I guess you know what you're doing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and do that then. I know you said before that you're really good at interviewing, but again, don't take this the wrong way. I find people when they haven't interviewed for a while they get a little rusty with it.
Well, I've done a lot of interviews, so I think I'm more than pretty good. I'm really great at interviews.
Okay.
I've had a heck of a lot of interviewing.
Okay. Well, I'd still like to go through it with you if you don't mind.
All right. Well, it might be a waste of time, but let's see what happens.
Okay. Great. I'll have you come to my office then tomorrow morning. Let's say about 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Okay.
Okay. We'll see you then.
All right.
Ms. Bryan, I'm glad that you're here today. I know you were a bit resistant to doing this interview, this mock interviewing. But again, we really like to get you prepared to do your best for your interviewing. So,
yeah, well, I hope it's worth my time because, I had to drive to get here. And
right.
I did receive your resume that you redid.
Right.
I added to it slightly. It's about 25 pages. I'm going to go ahead and give that to you.
Wow. Okay. The one I prepared for you was 2.
Yeah, I thought it needed more meat to it. I really want to describe everything I did at every job interview and job situation.
This looks
with
like
all my skills
and the vegetables.
Yes.
So you really did add to it.
I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, there's meat and potatoes there. So we can address that later.
All right, that's fine.
Let's go ahead and do it. What we're going to do is a mock interview. You'll pretend like I'm a company that you're interviewing with. I'm going to ask you questions, and you perform just like it's a real interview. You feel like you're good with that?
Well, I've done so many interviews. I don't know why I don't get the jobs, but I've done maybe 200 interviews.
Yeah,
so,
without a job. Okay, well, gotcha. So first question I would always ask is, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I like to jog.
Okay.
I like being outside. I watch a lot of TV.
You watch TV outside?
Sometimes I like to eat.
Okay.
That's one of my hobbies, really. I get my exercise really by going to my refrigerator back and forth, and that adds up to a lot of miles.
Yeah, it would.
So I take naps every day. I feel like that's part of my wellness.
Okay.
So
you do that when you're working?
Well, I do take, in Japan, I read that they do take naps.
Okay.
So when I can, I do take about a 15-minute nap.
Yeah, go on.
I'd like to do more as far as activities, but that's my main interest really is just by my wellness and keeping myself alert, mentally alert.
Okay.
I do a lot of walking, just looking for jobs.
Right. Do you mind if we got away from the mock interview for a moment?
Yeah.
That's not how you would want to answer that question. In fact,
well, I'm being honest.
The opposite.
I'm being honest.
Yeah, but there's a lot of honesty there, among other things. When you're asked that question, you really want to focus on in relation to the job and the company that you're working for. This is going to sound cruel, but most companies don't care that you jog and that you eat and take naps and so on. In fact, I would highly recommend avoiding the taking naps during the day part of your response.
Okay.
But focus more on your professional history when they ask about you. But let's skip ahead. Okay. So you're looking for a new job, Mr. Bryan.
Yes.
Tell me what happened in your last job.
Well, it was a horrible situation, and he just did not understand me. I was recommended that job by my brother, Jeff Smith.
Just missed?
No, not just Smith, Jeff Smith.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he recommended him. So it just didn't work out. We didn't get along. We clashed all the time, and he had a different agenda than I did, and he didn't appreciate me for what I brought to the table.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. But it just didn't work out. It was a horrible experience, and I feel like I need to let my new employer know that it was very bad.
Do you mind if we break away from the interview, the mock interview again?
Yes.
That's not how you want to answer that question.
Well, I'm being honest again.
Yeah. We want to be honest, but we also want to make sure that you're not bad-mouthing your prior employer.
Well, it's true, though.
Yeah,
So it's not really bad-mouthing, but it's true.
It is true. But we want to focus on the positive because they're listening to that thing. Well, here's this guy who's going to bring this negative attitude in here and this bad reputation, and maybe he's a problem. Maybe he was the problem. Maybe the boss was fine. So I would condense that story down so it sounds much more positive, and you can share the experiences that you had in that employer, but ultimately you choose to leave to pursue better opportunities, which is also the truth.
Yes.
But it keeps it much more positive.
All right.
So let's get back into the mock interview. One more question.
All right.
In fact, let's do this. I'll allow you the opportunity to ask me, again, as the mock interviewer. Imagine you're in a company. You're asking me questions that you want to know about the employer.
Well, I don't really have a lot of questions to ask you. I want to know about vacation time, for example. And
okay. Yeah.
when I can have my vacation time and how many breaks I'm allowed for the day. And I'd like to know if I'm going to be on the higher end of the salary.
Right.
That's my main concern is my money. I want to get paid for what I do.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take a break from the skit again.
Okay.
The mock interview, I should say.
Well, I thought we were going to have a...
Yeah. Well, it's not how you want to answer that question.
All right.
When you have a chance to ask questions, ask about things that are more relevant to the job specifically.
Well, that's relevant to me. I want to know what I'm getting paid.
It will be, yeah. There'll be a time for that. But in this part of the conversation, ask more about your duties, the company culture, what it's like working there, the dynamics in the group and so on. Worry about the pay and benefits later. There'll be a time for that. Don't worry.
Okay.
But at this point in the interview, you want to focus more on the job specifically.
Oh, okay.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up today.
Okay.
This has been a good practice. I would suggest that we schedule another practice for tomorrow and probably another practice the next couple of days.
Practice?
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about practice.
Practice?
Practice, yeah.
All right, that's like telling Elvis to practice singing.
Yeah, and he did. He did practice his singing. I mean, that's how he was so good at it. You don't see the practice when he's on stage.
Well, we're talking about practice.
Yeah, we're talking about practice.
All right.
Not a game. Not a game.
Yeah, but this is not a game to me.
Right. It's not a game to me either, but we got to get better at this.
All right.